Salutations, friends. And if you're watching this is, it's officially April, which is Autism Awareness Month. So I'm sure a lot of you know by now at this point that I am on the spectrum. And I have shared some aspects of what it's like to live with autism in the past on certain degrees and certain topics, certain examples. See, I got some blue on. I need this Raiders hat because my hair is crazy, and it's the only way to keep it functional, so this is what's keeping it not looking so crazy. But regardless, not talking about fashion, although that could be a topic for one day. But anyways, getting ahead of myself. Living with autism for over 20 years has been one hell of a journey from my own personal experience. It's made me learn a lot about myself and realize, about the struggles and the imperfections that I face every day. But it's also taught me how much of an impact I've made on people, whether or not I see it. It's something not easy to live with. And, anyone on the spectrum, I'm sure, could relate or agree to some aspect. I'm sure a lot of people who are like me, have to live with this daily. It's it's not a terrible thing, it's just something that happens, don't get me wrong. But, it definitely does make life much more difficult than the average person who, is good with their communication skills or, doesn't show symptoms of it. I want to be real in this, so I won't really necessarily worry so much about editing. So this is just one of those real talk vlogs. But this month means a lot to me because, it's pretty much like the only time where autism is really being discussed by anyone, by celebrities or politicians or pretty much anyone in the fact of that matter. This is the one time of the year where it's being discussed, and after that, it's over. It's not really brought up again. We exist. And for the month, and that's about it for people, But to people like me and to those who are affected by me, who know me, I affect their lives, and this autism affects their lives as much as it affects me. It's a big piece of my identity because, it's something I can't control. I can try to improve it, but it will only do so much good as it will. And, living with autism, it just only makes me realize of, the type of people out there who are going to understand what it's like, and those who are going to, not relate to it. Although I shouldn't say relate or know what it's like. I guess I should more say, who are sympathetic, to say. Some sort of sympathy or empathy. I forget which word it is. But someone who can relate to the aspect. Someone who not knows what's like, but someone who is compassionate and is patient and is willing to learn from from that experience. It really it gives people a chance to look at my or anyone on the spectrum's a different point of view of the world. And to me, that's what autism is at the end of the day. It's just a different perspective of how I view the world. That and me being a total pain in the ass to pretty much everyone I'm around. Which usually isn't intentional, but, it's something that exists, that's just part of who I am. And, autism, this month is, I want to cherish it as long as I can, Probably that narcissistic part, ego side of me that wants to embrace it. It's almost like a birthday, you want to be your birth week or your birth month. And this is kind of like one of those times where, I want this month to be dedicated to surrounding towards me and people learning about autism and, what it's like, or, just how it is to live with it. I mean, you can already probably tell from even just my past videos, just how, my communication is entirely the best. I try to script stuff as best as I can, and, it's something that just needs to be, it's something that helps me. You could probably tell from my eye contact most of the time, but, it keeps the videos going, so it helps. But, I've talked about certain aspects of the spectrum in life. I talked about the stimming and the communication part. And so throughout this month, I want to get into more aspects into the to other aspects that may affect someone like me on the spectrum. At the beginning of the year, I've mentioned I want to do more vlogs on autism, and unfortunately I haven't done as much because I've just been caught up with stuff. But with this month in particular, I am definitely going to make sure to put more stuff and time into this kind of topic, because this is something that really isn't really talked a lot about it, people, unless someone knows someone on the spectrum or someone lives with the spectrum. It's just the way of life, it's unfortunate that not too many people know about it, because it's not a visible thing. It's not like a skin color, or it's not like some sort of other like mutated or mutation, or like it's not like an extra limb you have, or it's not like a hairstyle. It's just something people can't tell, like cancer. Usually you can't tell a person has cancer or whatever unless there are like physical symptoms. But for someone who is high functioning on the spectrum like me, the symptoms aren't necessarily there. We're just seen as so some sort of like derogatory terms or negative terms. That's just how society is. Society judges and mistreats and fears what they don't understand. It's something I've come to learn in life, and it's something that it's just human nature out of people. People will just judge what they don't understand because they've never gone through it. They don't know anyone who goes through it. They never had never had to worry about that experience in life. And people tend to not understand how difficult it can be to live on the spectrum. It affects, a day-to-day basis, and makes, living, by yourself or being your own person just a total pain in the ass. That's just reality of it. I mean, as the 20 years have gone by, the 20 years I've lived, I've accomplished a lot in the times that I've been alive, and with the adversity I've faced, and being told from medical professionals that I may never walk or speak or do this or do that. And fast forwarding to today, here I am speaking in front of you with some sort of good form of vocabulary, and able to move just fine. But it's not the case for everyone. And unfortunately, people just don't really tend to put any thought into people with autism. There's always something going on in the world. There's always a cause for something. Hey, we gotta help out this group. Hey, we gotta defend this group. We gotta look out for this group. Yada yada yada. Good and all. Good, kudos to those people. But where are people like me, who need the help? Where's our, advocates? Where's our voice? Where's our help? Why isn't LeBron James doing anything? Why isn't, the president doing anything? Why isn't, the Supreme Court or the whoever in some form of government high office isn't doing anything? Why isn't Ellen doing anything? I could go on and on and on and on of the types of people who could do something, but, I just be ranting all day, and I just sound like, like a mad nut going on and on about just venting about the world. And, this is not the video for that. But what I'm trying to say is that, I wish that there were more people out there who have resources and money to do something about it, to make some sort of awareness. And because no one, higher up is going to do something about it, I feel like I have to take action into my own hands, which is why I decided to create this new series, in which hopefully people will be educated and learn something along the way of what it's like to be on the spectrum. And, I can't force people to, experience life in my own perspective, but I can only tell them and describe the best way I can what it's like to live with such a, with a neurological disorder. So, to those who don't know, I'll drop some small facts, which is kind of like more commonly known within the autism community, but to those who don't know, consider this an educational purpose kind of thing. So, 1 in 68 people are diagnosed with autism. So, imagine that. You have a room like this, or bigger, I guess. I don't think you can fit 68 people in here, but you can most certainly try. But there's a room of 68 people, okay? And then, 67 of them, all appear, normal functioning, as society would call it. But you have that one person who, physically doesn't look like he's on the spectrum, but he gives off some sort of, social cues that may seem off or whatever. And, when that one person out of 68 is, the odd duckling of the room, it's just not really uncomfortable feeling. I mean, I can only describe as much from a perspective without, without making the topic go over someone's head. And spectrum is usually a lot more common in boys than it is in girls. I don't know why it's more common genetically. It just is. I don't know much about that part. And those are just basic facts of what about the autism community. Oh, and vaccines do not. I'm going to repeat that, so I want you to listen carefully. Does not, vaccines, does not cause autism. All right? That's a misconception that's been, debunked for years. I'm sure there's some sort of, nut job out there who still believes it. That's their problem. And, that's just their low IQ. That's their fate. That's their problem to deal with. And, another thing going based off that, like in the day and age of misinformation, there's going to be quite a bit of that, of, false rumors or ideas of what it's like to be on the spectrum. And, anyone, whether on the spectrum or not, can do so much to try to debunk the false rumors or ideas of what lurks out there. But if you do want to know more about the spectrum, I would definitely, do some research on reliable source, of course, because again, we're in the technological day and age of hysteria, and hopefully, there are organizations out there who are willing to help, but they don't speak for the autism community. I can only speak for myself based on my own experience. So if you want to help and you want to listen, kudos to you by all means. But I can only inform you so much without going onto like a rant about what it's like to be on the spectrum. So I don't want to drag on and on with this video, so I'll try to give my final piece on this. Just be good to people, it's not that hard. Try to learn something, do some research on your own time this month. Try to, make friends with them, try to learn with them, try to communicate with them, do something positive, make an impact of some kind. I don't know how, but, I just ask that you try to be the best you can out there, trying to help people. And to those who are like me on the spectrum, we just have to keep going on in life, and we just have to keep doing our best in life to be the best versions of we can be. Whether, society agrees with the ways we act or not, it's just who we are. It's no different from, being a person of color, or, being part of the LGBTQ community, or whatever, it's just something you can't control or change, no matter how many times people try to force that idea or message on you. It's just something that's always going to be a part of you, and, it's something you got to live with, whether you like it or not. And, it's just something, it's just part of your life, in which, it doesn't have to be such a negative thing. You can learn to make your life manage and the best it can be with the diagnosis you have. So, I just want everyone to, feel accepted out there on the spectrum, and people in general who aren't on the spectrum. It doesn't matter based on your color or gender or sexual orientation or whatever. It's just about being the best version anyone can be, because it's coming together as a community and being the best who we are brings out the best of us, and being the best of us makes the world a better place. I appreciate you taking time to listen to this message, and I'm going to try to dedicate more time this month to having more vlogs on what it's like to the different traits and aspects in life of autism. So if you're interested, do keep an eye out on that.